President Biden must address this migrant crisis if he wants to make any significant progress on his immigration agenda while he is still in office. I have some important immigration news for you today. In an attempt to remove barriers to legal immigration, USCIS has announced several important policy changes designed to improve operations. Also, the number of migrants arriving at the southern border has increased, creating a humanitarian crisis and a massive court backlog. As the situation worsens, it has the potential to significantly impact immigration reform from passing in the Biden administration. We are going to cover all the details right now, so make sure you stay tuned until the very end to see how this can potentially impact your case. And I spent a lot of time putting this video together, so please support me in the growth of my channel, like this video, leave me a comment, and subscribe to my page. So what's the good news about the USCIS policy changes? What does it mean for immigrants? Even though major immigration bills remain stuck in Congress, the Biden administration has still been doing what it can to improve legal immigration by setting expectations for government agencies to follow. As an example, back in February, President Biden issued Executive Order 14012, which instructed all agencies to identify barriers that impede access to immigration benefits and fair, efficient adjudications of these benefits and make recommendations on how to remove these barriers. Over the past several months, we have seen major examples of government agencies updating their legal policies to comply with this order. And just this last week, we saw 3 more policy changes at USCIS, including an update to their expedited processing criteria, improved guidance on requests for evidence, and an increased validity period for certain work permits, also known as Employment Authorization Documents, or known as EADs. Let's take a look at each of these changes and what it can mean for your case. First, the update to expedited processing criteria reestablished emergencies as one of the reasons for expediting immigration benefits. Some of these other situations that qualify for expedited processing include severe financial loss to a company or person, travel for medical treatment and humanitarian reasons, work for certain nonprofit organizations, anything that serves U.S. government interests, and any clear USCIS error. These clear criteria will help immigration officers judge requests for faster processing. Second, improvements to the policies for requests for evidence and notices of intent to deny, otherwise known as RFEs and NOIDs, reverses a Trump-era rule set in 2018. The memo previously allowed immigration officers to deny immediately incomplete or ineligible applications without first issuing an RFE or an NOID. Going forward, if you make a mistake on your application and the officer believes they just need more information to proceed, you will receive a request for evidence instead of automatically having your case denied. This is great news because this should significantly decrease the number of denials issued by USCIS. And third, the validity period of Employment Authorization Documents, known as EADs, is now being increased from 1 year to 2 years by USCIS. This will be available for persons with pending adjustment of status applications, otherwise known as I-485s. This is being done to reduce the number of employment authorization requests USCIS has to process, which will then allow them to focus on other priorities. Last year alone, USCIS received nearly 370,000 work permit renewal requests, all of which took significant and unnecessary time to process. This change in the policy is due to the ongoing delays for adjustment of status applications. Currently, the average processing time for an I-485 adjustment of status application is 13 months. The hope is that by increasing the validity period of work permits from 1 year to 2 years will then reduce the number of work permit renewal requests, which will then free up the resources that USCIS has to properly adjudicate other applications. And in this way, they hope to reduce processing times overall. For those who want to learn more, I will include links below in my description. Also, if this is your first time watching my channel, make sure you click that notification bell and subscribe to my page. Next, what is going on with the migrant border crisis? And what does it mean for immigration reform in the US? If you watch my channel, then you will know already that we have a visa backlog at the US embassies and the National Visa Center. There are currently around 500,000 cases that are ready for interviews but are not yet scheduled. In addition to that visa backlog, there is a second backlog of migrant asylum cases that is almost 3 times larger, with 1.3 million cases that must be adjudicated by immigration judges. To put that into perspective, this number of outstanding cases is twice the size that it was in 2017. As we will discuss today, this has turned into a humanitarian crisis, and it is also being used by Republicans in Congress to avoid passing any meaningful immigration legislation. If you are waiting for immigration reform, then it is important for you to understand the political implications of this border crisis. President Biden must address this migrant crisis if he wants to make any significant progress on his immigration agenda while he is still in office. So what is the most recent news of this asylum backlog? There has been a historic increase in migration, with 180,000 migrants arriving at the southern border just last month. This is the largest number it has ever been in 2 decades, and the number is growing. Many of these migrants end up in immigration court, contributing to the 1.3 million case backlog that is already there and putting increased pressure on the 500 immigration judges nationwide. The wait time for these backlog cases is now more than 4 years, and there is increasing political pressure on judges to deport asylum seekers, which can be a death sentence for many. So what is President Biden doing to address the situation? As we discussed in last week's video, Vice President Kamala Harris traveled to Mexico and Guatemala recently, where she told potential migrants not to come to the US. President Biden has also requested to increase the budget to hire 100 additional immigration judges, and just days ago authorized $46 million in emergency funding to address unexpected urgent refugee and migration needs. During the Trump administration, the CDC passed Title 42, which allowed the US government to quickly expel migrants to prevent cross-border spreading of the pandemic. Rather than ending this controversial policy, Biden is continuing to use it to deny asylum seekers procedures into the US. It has also been reported that the Biden administration is considering an immigration policy that will allow it to fast-track deportations of families who came across together illegally from Mexico to the United States. The president needs to be more careful now in how he approaches this urgent situation. Failing to address the crisis will make the situation worse, but implementing the wrong preventative measures will destroy his political support. What do you think? Do you think that President Biden is handling this correctly? What are the right steps that he should take to assist migrants trying to come into the US to seek asylum? Leave me a comment below and let me know. If you aren't familiar with the visa backlog, click here to watch my video from last week discussing the situation, where I summarize information released directly from the Department of State. I will continue releasing more videos as news becomes available, so make sure you stay tuned and subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Check out this video and I'll see you there.